the emotional changes that sort of you've gone through. And I think a lot of parents hopefully can, I suppose, identify with that. It's such a sort of life-changing moment. Nothing can really prepare you for that.
These are the most devastating and truly horrifying allegations ever to shake the British monarchy. The impenetrable veil of secrecy that had hidden a dark truth within the palace for over 4 decades was suddenly torn apart when Princess Catherine unexpectedly uncovered a highly classified, unusual audio cassette tape. This astonishing discovery immediately sparked a covert investigation, revealing a chain of dark conspiracies, ruthless acts of exploitation, and severe abuse of power that Camilla had gone to extraordinary lengths to conceal since the tragedy of 1983. As this 40-year-old secret finally comes to light, the entire royal establishment faces a fierce battle that threatens to shake its very foundations. What exactly is on this shocking tape, and will it be enough to reveal the full tragic truth about Diana before the Royal Council? The secret in the Royal Archive. According to internal palace sources, a devastating incident began last month when Princess Catherine was cleaning, sorting, and reorganizing Prince William's highly restricted archived files and long-preserved royal collections. While carefully examining each collection of personal documents and belongings stored away for decades in the palace's deepest, most secure vaults, she unexpectedly came across a small, unlabeled cassette tape sealed in an evidence box yellowed with age. At first glance, Catherine assumed the ancient audio document was a routine recording of a public speech or the result of a mundane royal engagement from the period when Princess Diana was pregnant with Prince William in the early 1980s. However, after noticing several unusual details on the box, she stopped to examine every line with meticulous care. It was then that Catherine was stunned to discover a handwritten note attached to the casing bearing the name of the late Princess Diana. The date recorded on the tape was exactly 1 year after Prince William's birth. This timeline was completely illogical and directly contradicted both publicly available historical records and the palace's official files from that period. Understanding the extraordinary seriousness of this inconsistency, Catherine began to analyze the situation with great caution and thoroughness. She realized that such a sensitive item hidden within Diana's personal effects could never have appeared by chance or ended up misplaced in William's private archive due to coincidence or administrative error. Every clue and logical deduction led her to suspect that someone had deliberately accessed this personal archive and carefully placed the audio recording there with the specific intention that she would discover it. Faced with an incident surrounded by so many irregularities, mysteries, and the potential for a major media scandal, Princess Catherine made a cautious decision. She chose to remain absolutely silent, refusing to share, reveal, or discuss the matter with anyone inside the palace, including those closest to her. Rather than speak out and fuel unnecessary speculation or controversy before obtaining concrete evidence, Catherine decided to conduct a secret, independent investigation. She immediately began tracing every small clue recorded on the tape's casing to uncover the full truth and the real reason for this audio file's unusual appearance. The eerie 1983 audio. Where will the faint information recorded on that mysterious tape lead Catherine? And what earth-shattering secrets will the person who has guarded the truth all these years finally reveal? After securing an obsolete tape player from a trusted, highly classified external source, Catherine locked herself in her private quarters to maintain absolute secrecy. With her hands faintly trembling with anticipation, she pressed play. What she heard next through the static-filled audio chilled her to the bone and instantly unraveled a 40-year-old lie. The audio was a secret, hidden recording from inside a private hospital room in 1983. Through the crackling, Catherine could clearly hear the panicked, tearful, devastated voice of Princess Diana. Diana was in a state of severe physical and mental exhaustion, suffering from a devastating medical crisis. But she was not alone in that room. Another voice, sharp, cruel, and dripping with venom, echoed from the tape. Catherine listened in horror as the audio captured a fierce, bitter argument erupting in the hospital's private quarters. She heard the agonizing sound of a violent struggle, a heavy crash, and Diana's desperate pleas for help. The tape explicitly recorded Camilla hurling severe insults at the fragile princess, followed by the terrifying sound of Camilla using physical force to shove Diana hard, sending her crashing to the floor. The violent impact, followed by an eerie silence, indicated that the trauma had caused Diana to slip into an unconscious state once more. The sheer brutality of the secret paralyzed Catherine. But the recording did not end there. Moments later, the tape captured Camilla's voice aggressively threatening a hospital doctor and a young royal attendant who had witnessed the entire horrifying ordeal. She leveraged her immense power, using bribery and vicious threats to force them into an absolute oath of silence about anything connected to her actions. Catherine now possessed the ultimate, undeniable proof of Camilla's historical crimes. However, to present this devastating truth to the royal council, she needed living witnesses to verify the tape's authenticity. Based on the background noise and a faint hospital intercom announcement captured in the audio, Catherine began discreetly searching to identify the medical staff present that day. After piecing together historical medical data, she located the doctor's current residence, an elderly medical expert now living in complete isolation. Wasting no time, Catherine decided to visit him in person to seek clarification on the heavy suspicions weighing on her heart. The doctor's reluctant testimony. At a private meeting, Catherine presented a transcript of an audio tape and brought up events from years ago. The elderly doctor immediately showed signs of immense anxiety. His flustered expression and timid demeanor reflected the extreme tension he felt when faced with such a sensitive topic, buried for decades. Catherine maintained a calm yet resolute posture as she opened the dialogue with a direct question. "Doctor, I came here because of a highly classified audio recording featuring the voices of the late Princess Diana and Camilla, dated 1 year after William was born. As someone who was directly present that day, can you tell me what transpired?" The doctor hesitated for a long time, his hands trembling slightly as he took a sip of water. He glanced around as if fearing someone might be listening before he spoke, his voice wavering with uncertainty. "Your Royal Highness Catherine, this happened far too long ago, and it was fundamentally a complex medical secret. I can only confirm that on that day, Princess Diana was indeed brought to the hospital for emergency care, and Mrs. Camilla was present. A terrible altercation occurred." Catherine listened intently, pushing for more details. "Doctor, the tape records physical violence and threats made against you. Was anything else unusual?" The doctor swallowed hard, his eyes filled with intense hesitation. He waved his hands, his face paling with fear. "I cannot confirm anything further. I have sworn an oath of silence regarding anything connected to Mrs. Camilla. Please, Your Royal Highness, do not force me to speak. I can only suggest that the tape you hold is completely authentic." Although the doctor's words were guarded, his evident terror whenever Camilla's name was mentioned allowed Catherine to draw a critical conclusion. The panic of a man who had been retired for many years indicated that Camilla's threats were still very much alive. However, Catherine's secret investigative trip couldn't remain entirely concealed. As she was leaving the meeting site with the doctor, several freelance journalists spotted her and quickly photographed the entire scene. Soon, images of Catherine at the doctor's private medical facility were leaked online. The incident quickly became a hot topic, generating countless rumors and drawing significant attention from the public and social media. How severe a psychological burden would the widespread leak of news about Catherine's investigative trip impose on Camilla? What dark memories from 1983 would resurface? Catherine's efforts to locate the on-duty doctor from years ago, coupled with the leaked images spreading rapidly across social media, dealt a serious psychological blow to Camilla. Panic engulfed her mind, dredging up vivid memories that she had thought were buried forever since 1983. With a clear understanding that the dark secrets concealed for over 40 years were on the verge of exposure, she hurriedly took every urgent step necessary to erase any remaining traces. Camilla's desperate cover-up. Camilla continually escalated the psychological pressure on the elderly doctor, issuing grave threats that instilled fear in him. Her relentless interference and ominous reminders drove him into a state of utter terror, compelling him to consider arranging his belongings and leaving to ensure his safety. At the same time, to prevent any possibility of information leaking from the remaining witnesses, Camilla aggressively sought a direct meeting with the former close servant who had also been present in the hospital room that fateful day. She aimed to confront the servant face to face, intent on exerting pressure and intimidating her into maintaining complete silence in response to any inquiries from Catherine. However, throughout that week, Camilla's efforts to locate and approach the servant proved utterly fruitless, as the servant actively avoided all direct encounters with her. Desperate to protect her position, Camilla resorted to any means necessary, threatening to silence everyone involved in an attempt to destroy all evidence. The secret confrontation between Catherine and Camilla quickly escalated into a fierce, invisible battle. If the former attendant, the sole remaining witness to the truth behind the audio recording, could no longer endure Camilla's exploitation, what shocking turning point would her emergence bring to Catherine's investigation? Returning to the present, Royal Highness Catherine continued her relentless search for every trace and clue related to the events of years past. Just as her private investigation urgently required additional authentic evidence and objective information to piece the narrative together, a remarkably critical witness unexpectedly emerged on her own initiative. This witness was none other than Camilla's former close personal servant, the individual who had secretly recorded the horrific altercation in 1983. Over the years she served under Camilla, this servant had borne an immense burden of psychological pressure. She was repeatedly subjected to the abuse of power, forced to carry out numerous shady and opaque tasks behind the scenes. The unreasonable demands and relentless mental exploitation from Camilla ultimately pushed the servant beyond her threshold of tolerance. Realizing she could no longer condone such injustice or conceal wrongdoing, she made a daring decision. She sought discreet contact with Her Royal Highness Catherine to reveal the full truth. The servant's brave confession. This pivotal meeting took place in a secure, concealed space within the palace. Opening the conversation, the servant stood before Catherine, who maintained her composure and measured demeanor. The servant could not conceal her overwhelming emotions and the anxieties she had suppressed for so many years. Catherine looked directly at the woman before her, her voice gentle yet firm with resolve. "You took the initiative to contact and meet me privately like this. Surely you have something very important to clarify regarding the mysterious audio tape in William's file." The servant folded her hands, trembling, her voice choked with emotion from years of accumulated strain. "Your Royal Highness Catherine, my decision to seek you out today is to personally unburden the weight of guilt that has pressed upon my mind for over 40 years. I swear to recount the entire truth without hiding or shielding a single detail any longer." The servant began to recount the full sequence of the tragedy that transpired at the hospital in 1983 with meticulous precision. She admitted that her own hands had pressed record on a pocket device, capturing the fierce altercation, the harsh verbal insults, and the violent pushing of Princess Diana at the hands of Camilla. She also bitterly confessed that immediately after the incident, she was directly threatened by Camilla, who leveraged her power and status to force the servant into taking an absolute oath of silence to safeguard her job and personal safety. "I am the only person who kept that audio tape from back then," the servant explained, releasing a bitter sigh. "Before submitting my formal resignation from the palace, I secretly asked an acquaintance to place the tape directly into Prince William's archive. I was absolutely confident that, when you were organizing and accidentally discovered it, you would quietly investigate to bring everything to light." Catherine gazed intently into the servant's eyes, searching for any hint of doubt. "Are you truly ready to step forward and corroborate these truths in front of everyone?" The servant's expression hardened with unwavering determination as they nodded. "I can no longer be complicit in shielding these wrongs," the servant stated, their voice steady. "I am fully committed to cooperating with you." Aware that Camilla was desperately attempting to silence this very servant, Catherine carefully crafted an intricate trap. The next day, the servant received an agitated phone call from Camilla, her voice laced with fury and intimidation. Mindful of her precarious position, the servant feigned submissive obedience, allowing fear to cloak her true motives. Meanwhile, a modern recording device lay discreetly concealed within her clothing, ready to capture every word. As the conversation unfolded, tension thickened in the air, and the servant skillfully navigated the precarious balance between compliance and rebellion. The audio feed from the call crackled to life, revealing Camilla's voice, sharp and filled with barely contained rage. "You must remember your place," she bellowed, her tone a blend of fury and desperation. "Under no circumstances are you to ever speak a single word about what happened at the hospital in 1983. That incident, me pushing her down back then, it was simply a consequence of her daring to insult me first." The weight of her words hung in the air, inadvertently confirming the very transgression she sought to deny during the call. Her voice dripped with venom as she continued. "If you dare to utter even half a word to Catherine, I swear I will leave you no way to survive." The threat was chilling, laced with a promise of severe repercussions. Just as abruptly, the call ended, leaving a palpable silence in its wake. The recording device, however, captured every venomous word, every implied danger, and Camilla's glaring admission regarding the incident from decades ago, preserving a damning record that could unravel her past and haunt her future. The council's final verdict. Holding this invaluable new recording alongside the 1983 tape and the unified support of the witnesses, how will Catherine present this matter before the Royal Council to ensure Camilla faces the consequences of her actions? In possession of complete and undeniable evidence, Royal Highness Catherine officially submitted a petition requesting an extraordinary meeting of the Royal Council. This important event took place in an intensely tense and solemn atmosphere, with all core council members present to review the matter. As the session began, Catherine stepped forward with composed confidence, her posture straight and unyielding. She stood before the entire Royal Council, a gathering of esteemed members in their formal attire, and spoke with a dignified clarity that commanded attention. "Esteemed members of the Royal Council," she began, her voice steady but imbued with intensity, "I stand before you today to unveil a historical truth that has remained hidden for more than 4 decades. With a controlled motion, Catherine reached for a device at her side and pressed play on a secret recording from the year 1983. The moment the tape began to roll, the room was filled with the harrowing sounds of the hospital attack, chaotic shouts, alarmed voices, and the unmistakable backdrop of distress that reverberated through the air. The council members exchanged shocked glances, their expressions shifting from skepticism to disbelief as the gravity of the situation sank in. Determined to expose the depth of the deception, Catherine swiftly transitioned to the second recording, which captured a threatening call made by Camilla. The room fell eerily silent as the harsh, rapid voice echoed ominously, laced with explicit threats that left no room for misinterpretation. The words were clear and chilling, admitting to hurling insults, pushing Diana, and brazenly threatening to silence any witnesses who dared to speak out. The authenticity of these recordings sent palpable shockwaves through the meeting room, leaving council members visibly shaken and grappling with the stark reality of what Catherine had just revealed. Catherine then continued in a dignified voice, driving straight into the undeniable truth. "This evidence speaks for itself. The violent altercation and the threats made to enforce silence over decades are absolute realities. These actions not only inflicted profound pain upon the late Princess Diana, but also severely compromised the transparency and prestige of the royal family." At this moment, confronted with exceptionally clear and indisputable evidence, Camilla collapsed entirely. All prior confidence or denial completely evaporated. She burst into violent sobs, her face bathed in tears as she uttered desperate pleas. "Please, please, please let the council forgive me. I truly regret what happened in the past. I merely lost my composure and failed to control my actions. Please do not strip away everything I have." Despite her belated remorse and heartfelt pleas for forgiveness, Camilla's emotional display could not alter the severity of the circumstances surrounding her case. Faced with an avalanche of indisputable evidence, she found herself at a loss, unable to refute any of the charges laid against her. To ensure all verification processes adhered strictly to established protocols, the Royal Council summoned both the elderly doctor, who had first raised concerns, and a former close servant who had been privy to the details of the matter. Their presence during the session was pivotal, as they were called upon to reaffirm the full truth before all assembled parties, thus solidifying the veracity of the comprehensive case dossier. As the session unfolded, the council listened closely to the witnesses' detailed testimonies and scrutinized the gathered audio evidence. Each revelation added another layer of complexity, and the gravity of the moment weighed heavily on everyone present. After a thorough deliberation, the Royal Council swiftly reached its conclusion and delivered a unanimous verdict. They decided to immediately suspend all of Camilla's public duties, signaling a dramatic shift in her role. Furthermore, the council initiated a formal review process to strip her of pertinent titles in accordance with stringent regulatory guidelines. This moment marked a significant turning point, as long-buried historical truths, hidden for decades, were finally brought into the open. As the council's results were disseminated through official media channels, creating widespread coverage, a seismic wave of public opinion began to form. This strong societal response echoed through the nation, effectively closing a protracted chapter shrouded in dark secrets and lingering suspicions. The ramifications of the council's decision would ripple outwards, forever altering Camilla's standing and the royal narrative. How do you feel about Catherine's actions and Princess Diana's fate in this dramatic storyline? In your opinion, what deep meaning or lesson does this story convey regarding truth and justice within the palace? If this royal story captivated you until the end, don't miss the next one. Subscribing only takes a few extra seconds, and we would be delighted to have you join us again next time.